Well, hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. We are in the raised garden beds. Some people call these the Joseph beds because of the colorful sides that we have. You really can't see any right now. But oh yeah, there's some right there. But anyway, we are under the shade cloth over the tomato plants, and we are getting products. But that's in bed 2 and 3, and we normally start way over there in bed number 1. If you look down the aisle here, you can actually see there's a little bit of an explosion right there. We got something getting out of control down there, kind of, but we're very excited about it and looking forward to getting some produce off of that. So we've already done parts 1 and 2. Part 1 is the front and side garden tours. Oh, and I am underneath the 50% shade cloth, so it's not the blazing sun on me, but it's pretty warm out here. But anyway, the first part is the front and side garden tours. The second part is the outer beds that we just did, and there's some things going on in there. If you didn't see those, be sure and go back and watch those. At the closing screen of this video, there's links to those other parts of the 3-part garden tour. So right now we're going to start over here in bed number 1, where we always start, and talk about what we've got growing and where we are. Now this channel is really my own personal journal of what's going on in the garden. I refer back to these all the time. In fact, you'll notice in the index there's a lot of, in the description there's a lot of indexing, and that creates the chapters for the video where I talk about each individual thing, so that I can go back and find it when I want to, and I do. I go back and look at my videos frequently and try to figure out where something was. Like, oh, part 2, the outer beds, I had to go back and look and see when I had planted the zucchini out, and I had planted it out like a day or 2 before the May garden tours, which is very late for us here in Destin, Florida, but that's when it was planted. So anyway, yeah, let's get on with a couple of explosions. These raised beds are just really going nuts. We've got all kinds of pollinators everywhere. I got a new little thing. If you didn't see what we put up here, there's a video on something we put in here that I'll talk about in a little bit. And for more pollinators, trying some new stuff. So always trying stuff, trying to get things better. But anyway, how about we get on with it? Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So I want to start with the GreenStalk, which we just got planted out a little over a month ago. There's some videos on planting this out. We've got some Italian flat leaf parsley. There's some manzanilla lettuce growing right here, which is looking a little bit less enthusiastic because it's kind of been in the sun right now. It'll actually pick up once it gets some water in the morning. But I did plant a row of strawberries in here. This whole level here, it was all strawberries, and you can see the old leaves. The old leaves look terrible, but every single box there is new growth, which is actually quite exciting. Means that these things are now, this one here is kind of interesting because this one's really taken off. Those leaves are turning up and starting to look upwards. But look at the new growth in every single one of these. There's even a green strawberry there, which I probably should pull out. I don't know. I need to trim out some of this dead stuff. But every single box has good new growth. None of this was here when I stuck these strawberries in here. I just took these strawberries out of the strawberry patch out front that we started the first garden tour with. There's some basil in here and dill. Oh, it's starting to smell good. I'm not sure what we have down here. Let me look for a tag. Spinning, spinning, spinning. I don't see a tag. I don't know what this layer is right here. It could be, no, I don't know what it is. Huh. I have no, oh. Nope. I do not know. Interesting. I know that bottom is a mix of, so this side here is cilantro growing out of these pouches here. And this one, these are all cilantro. And around here we have some dill growing. I bet you this is starting to smell good too. No, not quite. Not quite big enough. But it is dill. We'll have some more spice. So that's the GreenStalk. Let me turn it back around here where this lettuce is. Just on this side here. I try to rotate it a third of the way around. Every day, 1 to 3 days, it gets rotated. So coming around the patio, we come up on bed number 1, and we have an absolute explosion here. This is the Kajari melon, and I'll show you this one over here. Last year when we had our Kajari melons, we had a whole bunch of them that were eaten out by rats, and I have been very proactive getting the rat traps out on this area, making sure that we keep them at bay. But look at this beautiful thing right here. It's in the organza bag. Yeah, that's just gorgeous. And there's several in here. There's one there. There's one up there. I actually lost one here due to something had eaten into it. And there's another one. So you can see one underneath it. Oh, there's another one down there too. You can barely see it through there. 1, 2, 3. Thought I had 4 on here. I think I do. But they're just kind of slinged in there with large organza bags. But this thing is just exploding. Look at this side. It's just oozing out everywhere. And in fact, this is one of my bins that I collect rainwater off the side of the house, and it kind of grew right through it and just kept right on going. And then I've got to show you the other side because it has just taken over. Look at here. It's all growing out here. This thing has just exploded. And then this side here, look at it. It's growing down that side. It's already getting ready to climb into that next bed over there. This is all Kajari melon. Oh my. And that melon right there, that's relatively new. I need to get that slinged up. Wow, that's growing fast. So once these things get pollinated, they start growing and growing. Oh yeah, there's the other one. Another one right down in there. I knew I had another one. Couldn't remember where it was. Got to be careful where I step though. This Kajari is just growing everywhere. I know one of these days there's going to grow a melon down in here and I'm going to fall trying to step over. Okay, past the Kajari melon, we have all kinds of ginger coming out. This is ginger. All these things are, now this thing right here is not ginger. And that's dollarweed. But look at, it's starting to grow multiple things from each root now, which means it's growing its roots out horizontally underneath the ground. So that's what we're looking for. There's even one up underneath the Kajari melon right there. But each yellow flag represents a piece that I buried. This piece here is looking a little worse for wear. Huh. I don't know what happened there. I wonder if maybe it was our wind. That one right there is actually around the corner here and it's growing up inside. This thing here is right there. That's the ginger, and it's growing up into the middle of this tomato plant. This tomato plant was a volunteer. I decided to have mercy and let it grow, and just look at all the tomatoes it's growing. We've harvested a whole bunch off this. It was nice having some early tomatoes. Mrs. Bowtie loves them. Lots of ginger, though, growing through here. So past the ginger, we get into the Suyo long cucumbers. And we have harvested a lot of these. We've been giving them away. We just recorded a video canning several pounds of these cucumbers. In fact, let me see if I can find one here. Here's one back here. Oh, that one's got insects. See now, it's gonna start getting insect damage on them. And this one's already gone too far, so I'm gonna take that off. But these things will grow a couple feet long. They're huge. They are enormous. And they will grow cucumbers that are 2.5 feet long, but when they're that long, the seeds get real woody and they're not really that great to eat. So you pick them when they're smaller, and we've been making pickles out of them. We've been eating them. People make cucumber salad and cucumber soup and all kinds of stuff out of it. But I mean, these things are just taking off. Look at that thing going up, way up in the air. That's almost 8 feet up there. So at the end of this arch trellis, this is a blackberry. We had a blackberry just kind of pop up at the end of this bed, and I thought, what are we gonna do with that? Well, I'm tying them up, I'm training them up, trying to get them to grow up these strings. In fact, let me grab this, spin it around a couple times, and you can see how it's growing up the string now. And so I just keep spinning them around the string till they get up to the trellis. Then they'll start holding on to the trellis. But they're working on it. I need to get these up. This thing is going the wrong way. Obviously, it needs to get up into the trellis. Hopefully without breaking too bad. There we go. I kind of got a break right there, or a bend. That's not gonna necessarily kill it though. So anyway, trying to get them to go up across the top of this, and I don't know where I'm gonna go from there. They're gonna keep going. So that's the blackberries in bed number 1. And then on the other side over there, let me go around here to the other side of this bed. So there's the cucumber with the blackberries growing in the middle of it. I got a one-time plant that I've got to get something done with. There's some chives underneath there. This right here is a couple of chive plants that haven't been doing very well, mostly because they're just kind of stuck down there in the shade. But here we go, folks. This is the okra bed. 12 foot by 4 foot of glorious okra, and looky here. We have our first okra. That is pretty big. Man, I did not see that. So I'm going to test to see if it's good still. Oh, it's actually pretty good. That'll do. I need to go give this to Mrs. Bowtie. She's going to be excited. Oh, that was so good. Mrs. Bowtie isn't the kind of person you say, close your eyes and open your mouth. You'll be in for a big surprise. But she did it. She got a okra, raw okra. This is, of course, Hill Country red okra. Started growing this a couple years ago. It grows extremely well in these parts, extremely well. And so this is all Hill Country red okra. That's the first one. And of course this is, I didn't even catch the flower for that one, but this is another flower for the next okra. And there's actually a few more coming up on that plant. I'm very excited. Oh, I see 2 more under there, 3 more. Oh my goodness, I've got to pick some okra. And so begins the okra harvest. Oh, there's another plant with them. So all these little ones will be growing up too, and this thing is going to start producing. Oh my goodness. Love our fresh okra. There is some nasturtium growing down in here in an effort to help prevent. I say there's there's a nasturtium right there. I grew that in hopes to prevent slugs. I don't know if it worked or not. I was hoping it would grow as a understory kind of plant underneath the shade of these okra. I'm gonna try to plant some more. The days are kind of too hot for it though. Going around to the other side of the cucumbers. I do have a magnolia here that I planted from seed. There's some more nasturtium over here that's struggling, not doing well at all. That looks like it could be a potato. I got a random potato coming up around here. I don't know if that's it or not. So that's bed number 1. Coming around to the peach tree. The peach tree actually leaned over in our 90-mile-an-hour wind we had, or 85-mile-an-hour wind we had. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some TLC on this thing The turmeric is starting to come out. I might need to get this guy some water. Of course, we've had a lot of rain, and it's been doing pretty good on its own. The old Brussels sprouts, 2-year-old Brussels sprouts, they're kind of nasty. I need to cut those out, finish filling this bed, drop that so I can plant the Kajari melons on this side. The beans, oh my goodness, the beans have just taken off and have grown thick. They are starting to produce slowly. The sun and heat has been giving it a little bit of stress, but there are beans in here. In fact, I see one right there. Look at that big old Blue Lake Stringless pole bean. There's another one. Good grief, I need to get out here and harvest. These are a stringless pole bean. They will grow, they will completely grow up over the top of this thing. They'll be spilling off the edges of this thing on both sides before it's done. We tried several types of beans last year and ended up with this being our favorite, the Blue Lake Stringless pole bean. Produced a lot of beans for us last year, and they're stringless. So I learned the difference between stringed and stringless beans. So we have over here a couple of Everglades tomatoes. They're kind of out here on the end, so they're getting a bit of sun. This one here is not doing well. This one over here seems to be thriving. So these are an indeterminate, which means they grow and grow and grow, which means I put the wrong thing on here. I shouldn't have put tomato cages on them. I need to tie a string and get these things a place to grow up to. And I will. There's a basil in between there too that's the worse for wear. But yeah, it's there. And then, of course, our Supersweet 100s are starting to take off on this trellis. This is also an indeterminate tomato. Can't see where I'm stepping. I don't want to step on a turtle. So there, I just walked around the other side, but you can see we have buds coming out on these Supersweet 100s. So we're going to have tomatoes. The big question is, will the tomatoes come out in time before the heat gets too bad for them? So we're in, of course, June 25th, late June. This time last year, we were already in the 100-degree temps, which is extremely rare for here. We've been here for 6 years in Destin, Florida, and this last year was the first time we hit 100 degrees. So it's always been 95 or lower because we have the Choctawhatchee Bay over there, the Gulf of Mexico over there, and it has a tendency to keep our temperatures nice and regulated. And so what I've done in the hopes of getting more life out of these is I've added the 50% shade cloth up here that covers our tomatoes now. So this is a major experiment that I'm actually feeling very good about. So we need to trim some of the lower branches off our tomatoes down here. They're starting to get eaten, which means I just need to trim them off to encourage vertical growth. I am doing these as a single stem plant. I just noticed over here, oh no, that's right, yeah, I'm letting this one go to a double right here. Yeah, that's looking good so far. Before we go on to much further past the aloe, we do have a couple of onion plants going over here in the end of bed 2. That's the tomato patch right here in bed 2. This is the bean wall, and right behind the bean wall we have some Peppadew peppers, and you can actually see there are some Peppadews growing here. Very mild spice. We also have some dragon cayenne and Thai hot pepper plants growing in here, and then of course a basil and another magnolia down there. This is where we can also plant some more pepper plants here next to the beans. A little bit limited on the sun though, which is concerning to me. These Peppadews, I'm just hoping I can get something out of these. I didn't get very many of these seeds, so yeah, there you go. Coming over here to past bed number 2, we have our aloe patch, which is really getting overgrown. I'm going to have to get in here and clean out some weeds so this aloe can start coming back a little stronger. You can see there's aloe sticking out there and there, a couple over there. The aloe is that we really do want a lot of this to come back. It's beautiful, especially when they bloom. But the freeze took out a huge chunk of our aloe here. On to bed number 3, the pepper bed. And of course, in the pepper bed, we have tons and tons of hot peppers. And you can see all the yellow peppers here. These are all Scotch bonnet, which are the Jamaican hot pepper that the Jamaican food comes from. And over to the other side of this Scotch bonnet, we have a Tabasco. This, you can see, is just rich with Tabasco peppers, and I've been harvesting a lot out of this. Some of them are actually turning red, which is what they do. I thought I saw another red one, and maybe I didn't. But this thing is a prolific producer of Tabasco peppers. We got a jalapeno tucked under here. I already harvested a bunch off this plant, and you can see there's a whole bunch of new buds coming out. Getting ready for a new round. More Scotch bonnet on this side. There's actually 2 or 3 Scotch bonnet plants right here all together. And we're about to start doing some experimenting with these as far as processing them for fermented hot pepper sauce and so forth. So stay tuned. We got this is actually supposed to be a orange bell right here. There is one a small one right here. It might be getting a little choked out by some of the big plants around it. I don't know. But, oops, I don't want to take that much soil. But check out the jalapenos under here. Now these are jalapeno traveler. Monsters. Monsters, I tell you. They're good too. Oh my goodness, are they good. And of course we have fatale under here, which are really hot. We have just tons, and the fatale pepper is a prolific producer. In fact, you can see there's a whole row of them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them right there on that one branch. Oh, no, there's 8. They turn yellow. And of course, under here we have peri peri, which are coming out like crazy now. Some of these are bigger than others. Of course, look down here at these. Nice hot pepper. All kinds of peri peri. We have shishito coming out in here. I actually just harvested a bunch of shishito, so we got some small ones here. All those red back there, that's all peri peri. We have this mammoth jalapeno, which is kind of funny because it's such a small plant, but it's making these monstrous jalapeno peppers. In fact, let me see if I can get down here to this one right here. Look at that. That's still growing. I see a habanero growing up over there. And this will be another fatale plant. That's a beautiful plant. That's going to be producing tons and tons of fatale. So coming over here past the what was the garlic bed, we have some random stuff growing in here. I've got to get some peppers and or tomatoes in this bed. Probably peppers. Might be where the next round of jalapenos, I mean not jalapeno, the next round of Thai hots and dragon cayenne go. But then we come down to our tomatoes. And I gotta tell you, these things are producing. They're so heavy, so big. Now this thing here, this is a Principe Borghese. It is not supposed to grow this big, but it's monstrous. Look at all the tomatoes growing on this. A lot of this blew over because of our winds. And the other challenge was when I planted these, I went on a trip. I was gonna put more tomato cages. In fact, you can see there's 2 tomato cages on that one, and then it's tied up to the top of the trellis. Well, I was going to do something similar to these, but I went on a trip, and by the time I got back, they were so far gone, I couldn't do anything. So I'm going to have to get in here and try to straighten these up carefully somewhat. You can see this one has a double cage on it. This is a Roma tomato. Look at these big old tomatoes growing. Big things. These are going to be beautiful. This is the same Roma tomatoes that were growing up front. So that's a Roma as well, though I don't see any tomatoes growing on that one. And these are Principe Borghese, very large cherry tomatoes. Look at that. Beautiful, tastes great. And then of course we're getting into our Nebraska wedding over there. I think we have 3 Nebraska wedding plants that I need to get this straightened out somehow. That's just a little much mess going on right there for my comfort. And then of course we have Supersweet 100s. I see one of my Supersweet 100s is getting away from me there. Let me see if I can step across the bed here. I just tied these up a few days ago. I thought I did, but I can see this one is already getting away from me. So I need to tie that thing up. Oh, there's nothing extra tying there. So these Supersweet 100s, again, they're indeterminate. They're going to grow and grow and grow. These other ones around here, the Nebraska wedding back there, the Principe Borghese, and these Roma are determinate, which means they'll grow a particular height, give a certain amount of produce, and then have the end of their life. So this one I can see there's some buds coming out finally on this Roma tomato. But that's bed number 3. Brings us around to our goji berry, and I tell you what, go look at that video where I was harvesting goji berries off of this. It was a short, and I harvested them off of this branch right here. You can still see where there were literally racks and racks of goji berries on here. There's still a few here. Most of those don't look very good, but this thing really produced for us this year, and it's got all kinds of new growth going on it. I'm still unclear on how this develops and where it produces fruit, but this whole mess right here is a goji berry bush that's growing into a second goji berry bush somewhere underneath over there. So yeah, this is kind of exciting. So there you go, the raised garden beds. We got the 3 raised beds and the GreenStalk over there, and this goji berry just kind of gets included simply because it's in the end here. I may need to do some trimming up on this thing. I'm still unclear on what to do with these. They are a low maintenance kind of plant. They kind of do their thing. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, just stumbled along finding us, please subscribe to Bowtie Life. We do monthly garden tours at the end of every month, and see the progress in our Destin, Florida gardens. We are zone 8B, just a block, not a block, just a county away from zone 9. We are 7 blocks from the Choctawhatchee Bay that way, and 7 blocks to the Gulf of Mexico that way. So we're kind of on a peninsula out here, and that has a tendency to keep our weather kind of stabilized here, which is a big advantage for growing. So it's coming down to the end of the day. Shadow's getting low. I'm still under the shade cloth barely, but my brain is kind of wandering. My ADD is kicking in, but just feels good to be out here in the garden, even though I'm sweating. I've taken several breaks. The camera's died a couple of times with the heat. It's really not that hot. It's mid 80s. The humidity is really high. Trying to keep the camera out of the sun has been a challenge too. But anyway, If you thought this was informational, educational, inspirational, or just entertaining, click the thumbs up on this video. And share with your friends on social media who might also be interested in gardening. Click subscribe if you have not already. If you have, I so appreciate you coming back and watching another video. All of this helps: the thumbs up, the sharing, the subscriptions, the watching even helps. Another thing that helps actually is commenting. Tell me what your experiences are, if you have anything similar to what we're doing, or if you have any thoughts on anything we're doing here. I'm still learning here. This is my 4th year of successful gardening, so I'm still figuring things out. I'd love to hear if you've got something that's working for you, but bearing in mind, we may live in a different area and our soil may be different, and there's so many conditions that vary. But it is fun to experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. So by all means, I want to hear what's going on if you have any thoughts. I am very pleased with the way these tomatoes are coming out right now. The shade cloth has been a complete change around for us here. That is really helping. I think so far it's really helping our tomato plants. So hopefully we'll get a lot better production. Last year, by this time we were heading into abnormally hot temperatures in the hundreds, low hundreds, and we lost all our tomatoes. Everything went just toes up, didn't want to produce anymore, dropped all their blooms. It was a mess. And so this year I'm hoping with the shade cloth up here, which is really nice because it does make it cooler in this area. And up front, if you saw the part 1 of this month's garden tour and the front and side gardens, that shade cloth up there, it's awesome. It just does so much for the garden. So anyway, so this month we did some harvesting, we did some observing and a few other things, pulled a few weeds. It's normally what I do out here. I'll walk out here and take a break from whatever I'm doing inside and walk through here and pull a few weeds. It's not uncommon, or trim a few lower branches on tomatoes or something like that. So anyway, all that being said, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you joining me on this garden tour. Be sure and watch the other parts if you haven't already, and there will be links on the closing screen for the first 2 parts of this month's garden tour. Also a link to the whole playlist of garden tours that we do. So feel free to watch through those, see the progress, and we'll hope to see you in the next video. Have a blessed day.